Imagine the temperature dropping and there's no heating, no warm house, no blanket factory, no hot water. Just you, a thin animal skin, and a world turning to ice. For most of human history, winter was a death sentence. Cold has killed more humans than almost anything else. Long before disease or war, cold was our oldest enemy. Every year it arrived like clockwork, and every year it took lives. So, how did our ancestors survive it with almost nothing? The answer is one of the greatest survival stories ever told. And it explains why humans are found almost everywhere on Earth. Most animals flee the cold or sleep through it. We walked straight into it. First, understand the enemy. Cold doesn't just feel bad, it actively steals the heat from your body. Your body must stay near 37 degrees, or you die. Drop just a few degrees and your mind starts to fail. You get confused, clumsy, and unbearably sleepy. Many who froze to death simply lay down and fell asleep. So the first battle was simply keeping heat inside the body. Your body is a furnace that must never go out. Every trick they used was about protecting that inner fire. And for that, our ancestors had a few powerful weapons. None of these weapons were teeth or claws. Every single one was invented by the human mind. The first and greatest was fire. Fire was the difference between life and death in winter. It gave warmth, light, and safety from predators. But fire in winter was incredibly hard to keep alive. Wind and snow and rain constantly tried to kill the flames. Losing your fire could mean losing your whole family. So one person was often given a single job: guard the fire. They fed it, sheltered it, and never let it die. Making a new fire from scratch, in the wet cold, was brutally hard. Far easier to keep one alive than to start a new one. Some groups carried burning embers with them for days. They built special containers to keep an ember alive on the move. A living flame, protected like a precious child. For some groups, one lineage may have carried fire for generations. Losing the flame could mean starting from nothing. The second weapon was clothing, and this was a game changer. Bare human skin is useless in the cold. We lost our thick body hair long ago, so we had to borrow it from the animals we hunted. Animal skins and furs trapped a layer of warm air against the body. Learning to make clothing was one of our most important inventions. We scraped the skins clean, softened them, and shaped them to fit. And then came a tiny tool that changed everything: the needle. Bone needles let us sew tight-fitted, layered clothing. The needle may look tiny, but it helped conquer the Ice Age. Layers trapped warm air, just like a modern coat. Fitted clothing sealed in heat far better than a loose skin. A drafty gap could let precious heat leak straight out. With good clothing, humans could survive cold that should have killed them. It's how we spread into freezing lands no naked ape could ever live in. Without clothing, humans are trapped in warm climates. With it, the whole frozen planet opened up to us. From then on, no cold was too extreme for a prepared human. The third weapon was shelter. Getting out of the wind was half the battle. Caves were the ultimate winter home, if you could find one. A cave blocked wind, held heat, and kept out the snow. But good caves were rare, and often already taken. Sometimes by bears, which made moving in very dangerous. So humans learned to build their own shelters. Some used wood and hides. Some even used mammoth bones. Huge bones formed a frame covered in skins and packed with snow. Snow sounds strange, but packed snow is a brilliant insulator. The same snow that threatened them also protected them. Trapped air inside the snow held warmth in like a blanket. Inside a good shelter with a small fire, it could feel almost warm. Shelter, fire, and clothing worked as a team. Each one alone was weak. Together they beat the winter, but warmth alone wasn't enough. Winter had a second killer, starvation. In winter, plants die and animals vanish or hide. The gathering that fed them all year suddenly stopped. So survival depended on one thing: preparation. Through autumn, humans ate as much as possible to build up body fat. That fat was a living food store carried on their own bodies. They also preserved food to survive the frozen months. They dried meat and froze it in the natural cold. Dried meat could last for months without rotting. It was the ancient version of tinned food. The whole winter world became a giant natural freezer. No fridge needed, and the entire planet did the job. They just had to store enough before the freeze set in. Fat, dried food, and stored supplies were the difference between spring and death. A group that prepared well slept easy through the snow. A group that didn't faced a slow and terrible hunger. But the most powerful survival tool of all wasn't a thing. It was each other. Alone in winter, a single human almost always died, but a group could do what no individual ever could. They huddled together and shared body heat through the night. They took turns guarding the fire while others slept. Trust was everything. You slept while another kept you alive. They shared food so the weak didn't die first. They cared for the sick, the old, and the very young. The old held knowledge. The young held the future. Protecting both was how a group survived across generations. A lone genius still froze. A caring group survived. Winter didn't just test our strength. It tested our kindness. A selfish group tore itself apart in the cold. A group that shared survived to see the spring. Here's the twist. We usually think survival is about being the strongest, the toughest, the most ruthless. But winter proved the exact opposite. The humans who survived weren't the strongest individuals. They were the ones who cooperated, shared, and cared. Kindness, it turns out, is a survival superpower. Cold winters may have made us the deeply social species we are. Trust, sharing, and loyalty weren't luxuries. They were survival. The groups that trusted each other simply lived longer. The winter shaped the very heart of what makes us human. Working together wasn't just kind. It was the only way to survive. The winter rewarded the group and punished the loner. Every winter you've ever complained about, your ancestors fought to live through. What is a minor inconvenience to you was a life or death season to them. You are here because they refused to face it alone. Not one of your ancestors froze before having children. An unbroken chain of survivors stretching straight to you. Your warmth today was bought by their cooperation thousands of winters ago. Every heater, every coat, every warm home is built on their invention. They cracked the problem of cold so you never have to. The next time you feel cold, remember what it once meant to be human together. Subscribe. We dig up one piece of the ancient human story every video.